Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be doing another episode of Nightmare Matchups. I listened to the poll. I put a poll up on my community post section, and it was, who should be next for Nightmare Matchup, Umar Nurmagomedov or Khamzat Chimaev? Both of them meet the criteria. They're up-and-coming prospects that are undefeated within their UFC tenure. And honestly, they're kind of a tough nut to crack, and I would like to give who I think has the tools to beat them, Umar and Khamzat Chimaev. And I believe Khamzat Chimaev, by the end of the poll, won by 70, getting 75% of the votes, and that's pretty unanimous. I cut it off before we reached 1,000, just because, it was pretty big of a landslide. Be sure to subscribe, hit the bell icon to get those community posts so you can get a vote on what the next fighter I'm going to do. I know Umar's going to be in the running. It'll either be Umar or Savkat. It depends on what I'm feeling. But let's start off with Khamzat Chimaev. Now, very quick criteria so I'm not pissing off too many people. I will give an explanation for each fighter that I believe he beats or loses to. And depending on how I think they would do, they'll either go from free win, that being, a free win, basically just go in there, submit him really quick, kind of like a Kevin Holland type situation, to a nightmare matchup to the point that I actually think that they would beat Khamzat Chimaev. And for every fighter, I'll give my explanation. With that little criteria out of the way, let's get started, and we're going to start with Nasruddin Imavov. Now, what are the strengths of Khamzat Chimaev? Khamzat Chimaev has very good first-round cardio. I know that sounds like a weird thing, but genuinely, you know how, we'll create, a mythical fighter, right? We'll have, he has the boxing defense of Sean Strickland. He has the left hook of Alex Pereira. I would argue having the first-round aggressiveness of Khamzat Chimaev is like a mythical fighter status. Let me just say this. Khamzat Chimaev is the best first-round fighter I have ever seen. Okay, it is amazing. I know some people are saying Khamzat Chimaev is overrated, no cardio. All I'm saying is this, maybe if he didn't, go into a blitzkrieg every single first round, he might have some second-round cardio. And I know there's going to be people on the opposite side of the spectrum that are going to say, well, the reason that he dropped off his intensity so quick in the Kamaru Usman fight is because he broke his wrist. Fair. But he also did the same thing in the Gilbert Burns fight. The Gilbert Burns fight lost the second round, and the third round was a toss-up, but I did give it to Khamzat, but the drop-off in aggression was night and day for Khamzat Chimaev. First round is his round, second round's a toss-up, third round, Kamaru Usman won the third round and outstruck Khamzat. Now with Nasruddin Imavov has gone the distance. Went the distance with Sean Strickland, got beaten up. I'm not even gonna lie. The Strickland fight was pretty one-sided. Roman Dolidze, but I don't know. Roman Dolidze also did not look too good in that fight. He does have proven 5-round cardio. However, I'm just gonna say it. I do believe Khamzat Chimaev would submit him. I think if it did go the distance, Nasruddin Imavov would do very well. But at the same time, I don't think we're going the distance here. I really do believe if they do end up fighting, Khamzat Chimaev would be able to get either I could see a scenario where he gets a second-round submission. I know some people are going to say, second round, why not first round? Nasruddin Imavov's grappling, I think, is good enough to fight him off in the first, but I think the second round, even when that drop-off and presser, I can see a scenario where Khamzat Chimaev is able to get him up against the cage, either get a trip, take his back, rear naked choke finish. And I'm going to say Nasruddin Imavov. Nasruddin Imavov is a pretty good dude. I'm probably going to put him top of easy to low medium. It depends on how everything fills out. Actually, you know what? I'll put him at bottom of medium. Because Jack Hermansson, I'm just going to say, I think would be an easy fight. Before you go into the comment section, what do you mean? Jack Hermansson is a grappler with cardio. Look how he did in the Joe Piper fight. To give you... This sounds like a Khamzat glaze, which is kind of ironic considering, brother, I'm called a Dagestani hater for just keeping it real, but if I say something nice about a Dagestani, I know Khamzat's technically not Dagestani, it's Chechen, but same rules apply. If I say something nice about Khamzat, I'm called a bandwagon. I'm just trying to give him credit where credit's due. Khamzat Chimaev out-grappled Jack Hermansson in a freestyle wrestling match. like, I know Jack Hermanson said, well, I fought him where he was good. It's like, it's still wrestling, brother. And I would argue freestyle wrestling is, well, okay. For MMA, it's freestyle and Greco-Roman. Those two are probably the best. But freestyle wrestling, he got you beat, dude. Within 5 minutes. Like, I kind of have to give it to Khamzat Chimaev. Striking-wise, Jack Hermanson has nothing that's too special. Does Khamzat Chimaev have power from middleweight? That remains to be seen. However, I would say this. He dropped Gilbert Burns with a straight right. Like, that is impressive. Like, I'm not even going to lie to you. And everybody looks good on the pads. He has been training at Tiger Muay Thai. That does mean something. I want to see more of his striking, okay? I really do. I think he would beat a Jack Hermanson just because if you can't beat him with your stick, I don't think we're going to make it to the distance. I think he would be a relatively easy fight just because I think Khamzat Chimaev is better at his stick. Roman Dolidze, what brother? Okay. Roman Dolidze probably has one of the meanest calf slicer to TKO finishes I've ever seen. Good grappling. I think this is going to be a styles make fights type of thing. I think I'm going to put him in the same avenue as a Jack Hermanson. I don't know. Maybe do I put him above or put him below? This is a styles make fight scenario here. I'll put him above. But, I mean, you can interchange those. He's higher up in the rankings. I'll put Jack Hermanson above him. Roman Dolidze. What does he have going for him? Decent grappling. He had some good inverts in his Imavov fight. Other than that, really didn't have anything too special. Was spamming overhand rights the entire fight. And Khamzat Chimaev is probably, like, there's a weird thing in MMA where people that come from, like, a wrestling background, when they're going into the striking department, but I think my biggest advice would be keep it simple, stupid. Mostly because you'll have, like, these wrestlers come in and they'll start throwing, like, spinning back fist, like stuff that they should not be throwing. The fact is, brother, take the Strickland route, throw a 1-2 and a teep. You don't need this crazy question mark kick bullshit. You don't need, like, this extra stuff, Khamzat. All you need to do is keep them at distance. You have a good reach and you have a good 1-2. Keep it. And when listen, if we're close enough to box, we're also close enough to wrestle. That's all Khamzat really has to do. If he can keep it simple, I think it would be an easy fight. Yeah, it'd be an easy fight. Paulo Costa. Dude, after watching the Paulo Costa fight with Robert Whittaker, I would have put him in medium above Imavov, but now I'm going to put him in a tough fight. I really do believe Paulo Costa would be a very difficult fight for Khamzat Chimaev. That is a fight that I want to see at some point. If they don't do Israel Adesanya versus Khamzat Chimaev in Saudi Arabia, I would very much like to see Paulo Costa take that or a Jared Cannonier. But I think Paulo Costa has the striking to put down Khamzat Chimaev. It's just a matter if he can get out of the first round. Ultimately, when we're going to be matchmaking Khamzat Chimaev, the thing that you got to keep in mind is this guy going to make it out of the first round? Like, really? Like, that's really what it is. And Paulo Costa, I think could. If this is a 5-round fight night main event, I might actually put Paulo Costa in a nightmare. But it's a matter, like, here's the thing. I don't think Khamzat Chimaev versus Roman Dolidze or Jack Hermanson or Imavov, I don't think that would be a good fight night main event, and I don't think they would make that 5 rounds. I feel that sounds like a fight that you put on a main card of a numbered card, okay? But Paulo Costa versus Khamzat Chimaev, you could put that as either a co-main, which would be 3 rounds, or you make that a fight night main event, 5 rounds. If it's 5 rounds, I'm leading Paulo Costa. If it's 3 rounds, I'm going to lead Khamzat Chimaev. Because that means he's pretty much guaranteed the first, and then he just has to edge out the third. Brennan Allen. Okay, I'm going to be real with you. Brennan Allen's probably going to go in medium. Probably medium. I would say that his grappling is going to put him above an Imavov, but Imavov has better striking. Brennan Allen looked really good in this Paul Craig fight. However, one thing that does need to be taken into account is where are we in Paul Craig's career? We're not in the beginning half. I think we're going into that later half, and it hurts because I really like Paul Craig. But at the same time, Brennan Allen was able to beat Paul Craig at where he was good and slice him open like Fruit Ninja. So I'm going to say, like, Brennan Allen's going to be high medium just because styles make fights. I think his grappling would be able to keep him alive. But at the same time, the wrestling that these European guys are bringing in, these Chechens, these sometimes Dagestani guys, what they're bringing in is a lot of trips, okay? When we're looking at American wrestling, we're looking at more like I don't want to say simple. It's simple to us because, like, that's what is recognized, but, like, single leg, double legs. If you want to get a little bit more fancy with it, that's when you're getting into, like, single leg, double legs, then you go into European, it becomes more of trips. Like, they do such a better job of introducing trips into their wrestling that it's not that it's better, okay? It's not that it's better, but it's different. And when you have guys that are training a specific way to wrestle, they have specific defenses for it. And that will leave them open to somebody like Khamzat Chimaev being able to take your back, getting you down to the ground with a trip. We'll get to that because there is a great example of this further on in this video. But I'm going to put Brennan Allen in medium. Just keep that in mind. Marvin Vettori. Marvin Vettori might actually be... I'm going to put him at the bottom of tough fight. Marvin Vettori would be a very tough fight for... I think he would be a very tough fight for Khamzat Chimaev. Just being real with you. Now, what we're... like, if Khamzat Chimaev is winning this fight, he's winning off a submission. Because Marvin Vettori is too damn durable, dude. Like, it really is insane just how crazy his chin is. But I'm going to say Marvin Vettori is going to be at the middle to bottom of tough. Again, 3-round fight or 5-round fight? 5-round fight, I'm going to lean Marvin. 3-round fight, I'm going to lead Khamzat. Jared Cannonier. Nobody's been able to take down and ragdoll Jared Cannonier. But at the same time, like, the striking of Jared, I'm going to have to put up there. Now, I need to think about this. I think I kind of have to put Jared Cannonier in a tough just because I put Marvin... How about this? I'm going to put Marvin at the top of medium, and I'm going to put Jared Cannonier at bottom of tough. I think these two actually are pretty good placement. Same reasoning as Paulo Costa. They just haven't been ragdolled like that. And Jared Cannonier is a big dude, and I am a little bit worried for Khamzat Chimaev is how much is his... like, high pressure grappling and ragdolling is going to work with these bigger middleweights. Robert Whittaker. The one thing about Robert Whittaker that I would be doing is he chinny? Is he chinny? Like, here's the thing. He's been through enough wars that, like, you kind of have to start thinking about that. But I'm going to have to... I'll put him at the top of tough. Top of tough just because he's well-rounded. Well-rounded, decent striking, is able to mix it up on the feet, very well-rounded fighter. I'm going to put him at the top of tough. Going into Nightmare, there's only a few that I would put in Nightmare that I would actually favor them to win. Like, I would bet money on them winning. But Robert Whittaker, what keeps him from that Nightmare, that S tier, is I really can see a scenario where Khamzat Chimaev just out of the blue fucking starts him with a right. Like, it would be crazy, but we're to that point in Robert Whittaker's career that his chin is getting testy. Like, I'm a little on that chin. Israel Adesanya. I'm going to make a lot of people mad with this, but this is where styles make fights really comes into account. Israel Adesanya might actually go not bottom of medium. Chill. Yeah, middle medium. Here's the thing. Israel Adesanya, I know he's fought people like Yoel Romero. I know he's fought people that do bring that striking. I know he's fought Paulo Costa. I know he's fought Jared Cannonier and Robert Whittaker. But the thing is when we're talking about Khamzat Chimaev is going to bring a different type of wrestling to somebody like Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya, although he's a big dude, he's not the biggest middleweight, okay? Like, he's not a Alex Pereira build, okay? I really do believe that we would be in a scenario where Khamzat Chimaev, just based off of... I think Khamzat Chimaev would be able to get Israel Adesanya to the ground. I don't think he grapples like Yoel Romero. I think we're talking about a different type of, like, European wrestling. I think he'd be able to trip him, take his back, and get a rear naked choke, honestly. And then we're going into, it's like, what is Israel Adesanya looking like right now? That Strickland loss is going to fuck with you because nobody really would have thought that Strickland was going to win by a decision. That's a tough fight to lose. I do believe Khamzat Chimaev would be able to get a win against Israel Adesanya. How about this? To be respectful to Israel, I'm going to put him at the top of medium. I can't put him in tough. Like, where you could argue is if we're going into this would be a 5-round fight. If we're going into a 5-round fight, then yes, I would favor Israel, but at the same time, I don't think it makes it to a decision. I think these are more likely to go to a decision. I think Khamzat Chimaev would be able to get a submission against Israel Adesanya. I just feel it, dude. Like that. This is the biggest Styles make fights pick of this entire video. But yes, no, I don't even think Israel would be the toughest fight for Israel Adesanya. We'll get to that in a second. Strickland. Let me tell you something. After watching the Dricus fight, the two performances that are going to dictate where I put Strickland here is going to be his fight with Dricus du Plessis and his fight with Abbas Magomedov. Abbas Magomedov was able to get down Strickland relatively easily, and I know Strickland was able to get up, but Abbas Magomedov was making his debut, his cardio wasn't there, and he was able to get down Strickland in the first round. Similar to how Khamzat Chimaev is going to get you down, but Khamzat Chimaev is better at capitalizing on those opportunities, especially if they're coming early. Like, Khamzat Chimaev was able to take the back of Kamaru Usman, dude. Like, that is crazy. That he was able to do that. I do see a scenario. And then you got Strickland talking about Khamzat Chimaev used to ragdoll him in training. Like, we cannot. Like, if we're talking about this fight, we can't avoid bringing that up. Khamzat Chimaev used to train with Sean Strickland. And Khamzat Chimaev, like, striking-wise, yes, you would have to give it to Strickland. No doubt about it. Khamzat Chimaev would beat up on Strickland grappling-wise. And 100%, that is something that is being said in that training room. Khamzat Chimaev is a phenomenal grappler. I'll say this, whenever I hear Khamzat Chimaev talking about, I've been submitting these champions in the training room, I do think he's talking about Strickland. I really do, because he's one of the only champions that he has been training in proximity to and training with that we know for a fact that's been happening for a bit. It's Strickland, and at the time, Yuri Prochazka. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think Khamzat Chimaev was ragdolling Yuri Prochazka. If I had to place a bet, I think he was doing it to Strickland. And that does come into account. Like, it does not count for nothing. I'm going to have to put Strickland above Israel as far as a media matchup. Like, this is what I thought the UFC was going to do. I thought when Strickland lost, they were going to make Strickland versus Khamzat Chimaev in UFC Saudi Arabia. That way, if Khamzat Chimaev beats Sean Strickland, one, the UFC gets to try to bury Strickland, but I think they're looking at Strickland and they're seeing star power now. But you could bury Strickland, you can make Khamzat Chimaev a number one contender, and you can give him hype off beating Strickland, but I think they're going to move to somebody else. I really do believe that it's either going to be Jared Cannonier or Israel Adesanya, but I think Jared Cannonier or Paulo Costa, I think these are the people that they're going to have him fight. I think Paulo Costa is going to be fighting Robert Whittaker. Dricus du Plessis. Nightmare. Yup. No. I really do believe. After watching the Dricus du Plessis versus Strickland fight, I have to give it to Dricus. It's not because he's champion. Like, here's the thing. Let me make something very clear to you. I think 50% of the time he loses to Strickland. And I know people get mad at me when I say this. I think Israel's going to beat Dricus du Plessis. But I think Dricus is going to beat Khamzat. Because for one, Dricus du Plessis proved out of nowhere that he has perfect 5-round cardio and was able to out-cardio Strickland. And he has the grappling to not get submitted by Khamzat. I would argue his striking is a little bit better than Khamzat's. Here's the thing. Khamzat just has to keep it simple with the 1-2. He has the distance. But I would give it to Dricus du Plessis at Nightmare. And Dricus du Plessis is a good build against grapplers, if that makes sense. You don't want to be spindly. I'm going to have to put Dricus du Plessis in Nightmare. And now the next two, I kind of included them because these were very much rumored fights back in the day. One of them was actually rumored just a week ago. That being Leon Edwards versus Khamzat Chimaev. Yeah, no. They offered Leon Edwards, Khamzat Chimaev for UFC 300, but Khamzat Chimaev turned him down, which is wild, by the way. Reportedly, the 3 fighters that they offered him, but all 3 turned him down, which, give credit to Leon. Leon said yes to every single one of these. It was Savkat Rakhmonov, said no because of Ramadan. It was Islam Makhachev, reportedly said no because of Ramadan. And Khamzat Chimaev, Ramadan. Like, Leon's a G, dude. Like, those are all crazy fights to make. And that just shows how desperate they were. But, respectfully, I do believe Khamzat would actually beat Leon Edwards. I don't think I think Leon's big for 170, but I think Khamzat is bigger for 170. I think the type of, like, okay, in the first Kamaru Usman fight before cardio became a big factor, Leon Edwards was sewing his back a little bit too much. And the problem is if you sew your back to somebody like Kamaru Usman, he's not going to jump on your back and search for a rear naked choke. If you so much as tilt your back to Khamzat Chimaev, he's going to strangle you, dude. That is the number one thing. That's why I'm putting Strickland in medium, because he did the same thing against Abbas Magomedov. You just can't give him that. But I'm going to put Leon Edwards, honestly, I think because not as big, I'm going to have to put him medium. Oh, damn. I'm going to have to put him in medium. Just because we have to put somebody in free win, I'll put Roman Dolidze in free win. And, yeah, I think Leon Edwards' middle of medium is pretty fair. Like, here's the thing. I'm not saying that Marvin Vettori's better than Leon. No. I'm saying styles make fights, and Marvin Vettori, I think, would do better against Khamzat Chimaev. I think Leon Edwards would struggle against Khamzat. And now, finally, Colby Covington. Colby Covington actually goes in easy. Honestly, yeah. No, at this point in his career, you could say ring rust, you can say all that. The problem is that it doesn't change the performance that he had against Leon Edwards. And I really do, like, if you get double legged by Leon Edwards, you're not beating Khamzat. I'm sorry. Khamzat Chimaev, bigger, harder punches. I would argue he's better at offensive wrestling than Colby is. Colby's just going to grind you out. But if he's not going to get to the point where we can get to that grind, Khamzat Chimaev's going to get a win. But there you go. That's going to be the nightmare matchups. Dricus du Plessis is going to be in my nightmare. Robert Whittaker nearly misses it just because I'm worried about his chin. I am really worried about that. Paulo Costa, Jared Cannonier. Actually, okay. I'm going to move Paulo Costa down. And I'm going to move Strickland up, and I'm going to move Israel at the top of medium going into that tough one. Because the more I think about it, the more I'm like, if Strickland can get through the first round, bro, Khamzat's cooked. Israel Adesanya, I think, would have trouble in that second round, too. If we go to the 5 rounds, I would favor Israel. It's just a matter of getting there. But there you go. That's my last little rendition. Israel barely misses tough, but everybody else I'm pretty confident in their pick, in their placement. But hey, if you disagree with me, go in the comment section below and tell me why I'm wrong. I might change it later. And what fighter do you want to see next on Nightmare Matchups? And I'll take a look at it and I'll hold a poll for it. And with that out of the way, thank you all for watching and adios, guys.